Hello students, today we will learn about the lesson The Black Aeroplane written by the famous writer Frederick Forsyth. This is the second part of lesson 3, Two Stories About Flying. Frederick McCarthy Forsyth was born on 25th August 1938. He is an English author, journalist, former spy and occasional political commentator. He is best known for thrillers such as The Day of the Jackal, The Odessa File, The Fourth Protocol, The Dogs of War, The Devil's Alternative, The Fist of God, Icon, The Veteran, Avenger, The Afghan, The Cobra and The Kill List, and many more books. The list of his work is never ending. The lesson The Black Aeroplane has three characters, mainly the narrator, who is a pilot, a stranger who approaches in a black aeroplane, and the woman in the control tower. The story begins with the narrator flying his plane, the Old Dakota, over France to reach his home in England. It was night time and the sky was clear with shining stars and the dazzling city beneath. It was 1:30 in the morning. He was dreaming of his holiday and looking forward to being with his family. While flying over France, the pilot thought of informing the Paris control personnel about his presence and for instructions. The control room at Paris instructed him to turn 12 degrees towards the west. On getting the instructions from the control tower, the pilot was very happy as he thought he would reach home in time for breakfast, something which he was eagerly waiting for. He put the last fuel tank into operation and headed towards England. All this time, he was dreaming about his time with his family. He was calm as everything was going as planned. When Paris was 150 kilometers behind, he saw dark clouds in the sky, storm clouds. They looked like black mountains standing in front. He could not fly up and over them as he hadn't enough fuel. Getting inside the storm clouds was a big risk, but the urge to have breakfast at home was very strong. So he took the risk and flew the Old Dakota straight into the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. Now, the pilot looked at the compass. To his disbelief, it was turning round and round. It was dead. The other instruments were also dead. He tried the radio. There was no answer. The radio too was dead. In that storm, everything was black around, providing him no visual guidance. He started losing control of the aeroplane. He was completely lost and absolutely helpless. When he was completely lost in the storm, out of nowhere came a black aeroplane, which was a ray of hope for him. He felt relieved on seeing another pilot who lifted one hand and waved at him to follow him. The narrator thought he was kind. The other pilot turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of his Dakota to help him follow. The narrator was more than happy to go behind the strange plane like an obedient child. After half an hour, the black aeroplane was still flying in front of him. There was only enough fuel in the Old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. The narrator started to feel frightened again, but then the pilot of the black aeroplane started to go down and he followed through the storm. Suddenly, he came out of the clouds. He saw a runway, an airport. He was extremely happy. He was safe. He wanted to thank the other pilot who was a savior. Surprisingly, the sky was clear, but there wasn't any black aeroplane. The black aeroplane had vanished. The author did not know where he had landed, but was not afraid of leaving his plane unattended. He headed straight into the control room to ask about the other pilot. To his utmost surprise, the lady informed him that there was no other plane in the sky except his because of the bad weather. He was left astonished with a lot of questions unanswered in his mind. So students, Wasn't it a mystery? What do you think had happened? Students, these are a few questions for you to answer after reading the lesson thoroughly. With this, we come to the end of the lesson, The Black Aeroplane.